chairman of the Georgia Republican Party, Josh McKoon, and Democratic strategist and former Blue Dog Coalition communications director, Brad Howard. Thank you both for being with us again. First, Josh, the president of a federal employees union is actually speaking out, saying that these people who are being laid off are being treated as though they are not human. Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries says President Trump's government shakeup is a distraction. Let's hear what he had to say.
They have no interest in improving the quality of life of hardworking American taxpayers. Instead, what they're trying to do, while they distract the American people, is to jam the GOP tax scam down the throats of people all across this country, all in service of massive tax cuts for their billionaire donors and wealthy corporations. It's a toxic bait and switch.
There were warnings that these layoffs were coming. I mean, most, if not all, of the employees are actually receiving not only warning, but some of them are receiving pay. Is this fake outrage?
Absolutely is. We've been waiting. I've been waiting my entire adult lifetime for a Republican president to actually act on the promise of reducing the size and scope of the federal government. And that's what President Trump is delivering. And he's delivering in record time, between the buyouts offered to federal employees, which has reduced the federal workforce by almost 4%, and these targeted cuts at agencies across the board. This has to happen. We have an unsustainable spending problem in Washington, D.C. The federal government is too large. The Biden administration flooded the zone with printed money for the last 4 years. You heard the question asked of President Trump about inflation. You want to get a hold of inflation, you've got to reduce the size and scope of the federal government and the amount of deficit spending that's flooding into the country. So he's doing exactly what he said he was going to do. And this sort of fear-mongering isn't going to work, because this is what the American people voted for.
Brad, in the case of the buyouts, they are very generous. I mean, the White House is reporting nearly 80,000 federal workers accepted the offer to resign voluntarily in exchange for 8 months of full pay. They were also well aware of the demands to return to in-office work, or they could resign. So where is the inhumane treatment here? I mean, as a former Blue Dog Coalition spokesperson, isn't this reduction of government a goal that's bipartisan?
Well, look, I think when you look at reducing government inefficiencies, I think every elected official can rally behind that. We've got to reduce waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. But here's the thing. What Leader Jeffries is trying to showcase is the fact that these cuts are so haphazard, they're so across the board, that they're dangerous to the American public. Because, for instance, the Trump administration laid off several workers at the National Nuclear Security Administration, which has the task of protecting our nuclear weapons and nuclear energy across the country. They quickly realized they made a mistake, had to go back, and they're trying to rehire for those positions. So these are sloppy. These are across the board. These are dangerous to the American people. We need to absolutely cut the federal workforce, but we need to do it in a smart and targeted way that ensures that services are delivered to the American people and that we are kept safe. And the reason they're doing it in such a broad, haphazard way is they've got to pay for these tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. And so it's a tax scheme, is the point of Leader Jeffries he's pointing out. You got to ask, look, that press conference the president just did. We asked about all these questions. Then they brought up the thing that consumers are talking about right now the most. Every mom in suburban America right now is talking about how eggs are higher than they have ever been in American history. And yet the president is doing nothing but blaming Biden on this. There's a lot of things the president could be doing right now to help bring down the price of eggs. But instead, he's out at NASCAR and still pushing forth these cuts and putting Elon Musk in charge, who has a vested interest in getting these government contracts, and he's getting rid of the watchdogs so the wolves can run free. That is a problem. I'm fine with cuts, but they need to be transparent and they need to be detailed to the American people, and Congress should have a say.
What could he do to lower the cost of eggs, in your estimation?
Are you asking me?
Well, you did say that there are a lot of things he could do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. For instance, there is a vaccine right now that goes out and can vaccinate flocks against the bird flu. He has yet to do that or order that nationwide. That alone, when one hen has a bird flu, you have to cull the whole flock, which means you have to kill hundreds of other chickens. A mandatory vaccination program across the country would do that, but he's not interested in actually fixing solutions. He's interested in giving Elon Musk the keys to government so that Elon Musk can go after those that were investigating some of his backroom deals, and so that he can push his products and line his pockets at the expense of the American people.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.